Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Other Castle.
The Other Castle, I'm Andrea.
And my name is Tom.
And here on The Other Castle, we do the plot, lore, and more behind all your favorite video games. That means we go into who made them, why they made them, how they made them, and then the actual story of the game itself. So if you don't have time, or you want to revisit something, or you want to learn about something, we got you.
Yes, and if this is your first time listening, you can check out our website, theothercastlepodcast.com.
That's theothercastlepodcast.com.
Over there, we have links to our Instagram, Discord, our item shop, and even our Patreon.
Our Patreon is as low as $2 a month, and it goes up to $10 for different tiers. There is a 7-day free trial, and we have monthly episodes both on and off season. And if you are a patron, you get this episode a whole day early.
Ooh, that is so special, isn't it?
So special.
Yeah, over there we'd cover DLCs, histories, movie commentaries, and do so much more.
We did something super embarrassing for May that I only recently figured out was fan fiction.
Yeah, we did a fan fiction episode where it's not like we were covering other people's fan fiction.
No.
We did Andrea's fan fiction.
I didn't mean to. I was pitching sequels to games that haven't come out yet. So I was like, here's what I would do if I had The Last of Us 3. And then you called it fan fiction. And my day is ruined.
I'm so sorry.
That's where I'm at now. But today we are not getting into any of that. We are getting into a very much existing game called Slay the Princess.
Okay, now this is not like a AAA by any stretch of the imagination.
No, there's only one A in the title.
Okay.
And before we get into it, I want to give a big thank you to Writing Raven Cove, Rockin' Aaron Show, Shiny Gecko Bonjamin. Did I write that right? Yeah. ACX Arrow and TSD Talks for suggesting this game on our Discord.
So many people requesting this game.
Yeah, I felt like I had to.
Okay.
For this season, on our Discord, we have a channel called Game Suggestions, and I just did a blind scroll and pulled a bunch of games out of there to cover. So if you do have a game that you want to see us cover, the Discord and under Game Suggestions is the best way to pull. That is where I pull from. Sometimes we get DMs, emails, or comments. I'm going to be real. I am most active on our Discord, and that's where I will pull them from. But we do try to check out all of them. I'm on our Discord a lot, so I just see it a lot.
Fair enough. Now, I know next to nothing about this game.
Good.
But it looks to me kind of like a Doki Doki Literature Club style game where it's mostly like a visual novel.
Very much so.
Okay, cool.
You do not get to shoot anything in this.
No? Okay.
Much to my chagrin, which is fine. So, Slay the Princess came out in 2023 from developer Black Tabby Games and in partnership with publisher Serenity Forge.
Oh.
Which, to your point, are the same people from Doki Doki Literature Club.
Okay, so that is very appropriate.
Yeah, and I just want to say that's a game I love. Will never touch again.
Oh, yeah. Also, I did a full playthrough of that game on our YouTube channel.
I left him home alone for 3 days.
Yep.
And by day 1, he was like, I'm going to play all of Doki Doki Literature Club. And I went, have fucking fun, man.
I didn't know what to do with myself.
We're best friends and we make it everyone else's problem.
Yep.
So when I was out for a work trip, I was checking in on him and he was like, I'm on Twitch so you can watch me. So I was like putting on my makeup to go out, like watching you play Doki Doki, which was kind of a weird experience, but it was fun. I love that game. I'll never touch it again. But we did cover it in season 10 if you are curious about that one.
Well, I needed to see what happens when you romance Natsuki, so.
I'm a Yuri girl.
I know you are.
So, developer Black Tabby Games is self-described as a 2-person narrative studio from Abby Howard and Tony Howard Arias. They are also best friends who make it everyone else's problem. They're a Canadian married couple who live with a cat, a snake, and an oxalotl, and an animal I forgot was real.
Oh my gosh, those don't even seem like compatible animals to have.
I don't think they're all like on top of each other.
Right, but still.
I don't think those animals are like in one corner of the house like, we have a guild.
It just feels like one of those situations where each one could eat another one down the line.
Fair, yeah. Now that I see you. Abby is an artist and has worked on cartoons like The Last Halloween and The Earth Before Us. She's been working in the horror narrative space for years and is a lifelong horror hound. Tony is a tech guy, and together they do fun shit like make games together and hang out with their vast array of strange animals. They began working on video games in 2019, right before the pandemic. They share writing roles equally, with Tony saying he injects more comedy and lighthearted balance into the games, and Abby is a spooky babe. She spooks shit up. Their first game, Scarlet Hollow, was funded following a successful 2020 Kickstarter campaign, which is awesome. Scarlet Hollow is an episodic choose-your-own-adventure narrative game with a absolute cult following. Abby and Tony had joked about doing a dating simulator, but all the romanceable options would be absolute actual demons.
Oh.
And they were deeply inspired by Return of the Orbit Din and classic folklore and, frankly, the need to scare the shit out of people.
Yeah, really is into the spooky shit, isn't she?
Fully. From there, Scarlet Hollow was born. The first episode of Scarlet Hollow entered early access in June of 2021, and the most recent 5th episode of Scarlet Hollow launched in February of 2026. Scarlet Hollow currently holds an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam, but was not necessarily financially profitable long-term for the couple. Tony estimated that Scarlet Hollow was bringing in around $3,000 a month after Steam fees, which is decent, but not really enough for two people to live off of while creating video games long-term.
No, but man, I'd love an extra $3,000 a month.
You gotta create a whole video game world to do it.
Damn it.
And make it a cult classic, and be charming, and keep putting things out. So they knew they had to get started on another project to stay afloat. In May 2022, Black Tabby started working on their newest title, Save the Princess. They soon changed the name to something more dynamic, Slay the Princess.
Okay, I was like, that's not the name of this episode.
You're like, you immediately fucked up,
I was
Andrea.
like, did you make a mistake?
You fucked it up so fast. Development was about 7 months of full-time effort to create. In comparison, each episode of Scarlet Hollow takes the team about 6 to 9 months to complete. Tony and Abby were inspired by a game jam prompt where they had to jam out a ton of emotion and care into one game. Now, the biggest hurdle was marketing. With Scarlet Hollow, they found it difficult to pitch the scope of the game quickly, so the focus for Slay the Princess was to do a game they could easily pitch, which, I'll give you that one, smart as shit.
Yeah.
Tony estimates that Abby drew around 3,300 individual illustrations to cover the entirety of Slay the Princess.
Holy shit, that's a lot of drawing.
Lovingly calling her a machine. Each individual drawing was drawn on an 11 by 17 ledger-sized paper with pencils instead of inks.
That's huge.
That makes me feel crazy.
Oh my god.
Like, I did either advanced or AP, I don't remember, classic art in high school.
Oh, you did?
My like end thing was like a 4-foot painting, and we did a whole thing. I think it would, at that pace, would have taken me maybe 8 years to make that many illustrations she did in a couple months. And that makes me feel insane.
Good lord. And it's like on a drafting board, basically.
Yeah, and that 11 by 17 is gigantic.
Yeah, that's huge.
A regular piece of paper for reference is 8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
So this is wild. In addition to Tony and Abby working on the game, Slay the Princess is also fully voiced by 2 actors, Jonathan Sims and Nicole Goodnight. Jonathan Sims is the creative behind the Magnus Archives podcast and has published a few horror books. Nicole Goodnight is from the No Sleep podcast. She plays games on Twitch and has a companion cube tattoo.
They are literally living our dream. Podcasters getting to be video game characters. Man, that's all I want.
That's all you want. Put it in the universe, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Black Tabby announced the game with a trailer on YouTube and a 2-hour demo via the Black Tabby Patreon page. Within 2 weeks of the announcement, Slay the Princess had over 25,000 wish lists on Steam.
Damn.
Tony wrote a piece on Medium about how Slay the Princess racked up so many wish lists so fast, and they largely attribute it to the team and to timing. Their voice talents were hugely helpful in promoting, and on the timing end, they were very careful to not have the announcement overlap with Summer Games Fest, which is coming up very soon. They didn't want to share the spotlight, they wanted to own their media cycle. Almost a full year later, a second demo was launched during the 2023 PAX East, and was a massive fan favorite at the show, adding to the already snowballing hype. About 6 months after 2023 PAX East, another trailer for Slay the Princess came out during the Feardemic Fear Fest, really leaning into like the ethereal indie horror wave we're neck deep in right now. That trailer came out in September of 2023 and announced the game would be out on October 20th, 2023, just in time for spooky season.
Ooh.
Now the game did get delayed, but only by a few days, and still came out on October 23rd, 2023.
That's not bad. That's a weird delay.
It's literally just days. I'm sure it was just a licensing thing. They didn't really get into it, but they're like, okay, our bad. Just give us like 72 hours.
Yeah.
In the first month, Slay the Princess moved about 100,000 units.
Wow.
which, again, cannot emphasize, is massive for an indie game made by essentially 2 people.
Yeah.
After 2 months after release, Black Tabby announced that they would be releasing an expanded version of the game called Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut, which is the version I played and will be walking you through today. The Pristine Cut update was a free upgrade and did not affect the base price of the game, just making it a sweet, sweet upgrade. This launched on 1-year anniversary of Slay the Princess, which is also just a nice, like, roundabout thing. By the time the Pristine Cut launched, Slay the Princess had sold about 500,000 copies.
What the hell?
500,000 copies for an indie game of this caliber is absolutely incredible. It is a runaway hit for Black Tabby and for Serenity Forge, and just for gaming. Seeing cool indie shit like this doing well is awesome. We're reflecting it and seeing that in Backrooms and Obsession right now. Just small indie horror doing cool shit and making big numbers.
So that's a few dollars more than the $3,000 a month they were making.
Oh, they're fine now.
Yeah.
That axolotl is living so large.
Right.
Like, she's driving a Bentley for axolotls. Slay the Princess took home awards for Best Indie RPG from the OTK Game Awards, Player's Choice at the Horror Game Awards, Hidden Gem at the New York Game Awards, and the grand prize at Indie Live Expo.
Damn.
Slay the Princess was somehow slept on during the Game Awards that year, but has still propelled Black Tabby to be able to expand into the publishing world with several upcoming games announced. They're doing big things.
Nice. Good for them, honestly. Are they bigger than a 2-person team now? Really? Okay.
I mean, it's still predominantly them. Like, they did work with a composer, they had voice talent come in, but Black Tabby at their core is kind of just these 2 people jamming shit out and doing cool shit.
It's crazy, too, that this is like the second game this season that we are covering that started with a game jam.
Yeah, game jams are cool.
Yeah, clearly.
In February of 2026, it was announced that Slay the Princess had surpassed 1 million copies sold.
1 million copies.
Baby girl went platinum.
God damn.
Now, much like my Doki Doki Literature Club and my Dispatch episodes, I felt that the best way to tell the story of Slay the Princess was to describe my experience with the game. There are decidedly 7 main endings to Slay the Princess.
Oh.
And nearly infinite different path configurations. So to best encapsulate the experience of playing, we're going with my run. I walked into this game only knowing it was suggested in our Discord. It was an indie horror and presumably was like cute but secretly scary. That kind of vibe.
You love that.
And this playthrough includes some of my live reactions and feelings as we unravel the narrative. And this is also very fresh in my mind because I did this game in one sitting. And I did it yesterday.
Yep.
So with that, my friends, let's get started. This is my run of Slay the Princess. Our first warning appears in white text on a black screen. Whatever horrors you may find in these dark spaces, have heart and see them through. There are no premature endings. There are no wrong decisions. There are only fresh perspectives and new beginnings. This is a love story. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess. There's a lush forest and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it'll be the end of the world. A sequence of options appears for responses. That's going to be on the right-hand side, and you're always going to get a couple different things. Sometimes there's only one option, but here there are a few. And to that I say, sweet, I've always wanted to off a monarch.
Who hasn't?
Viva la revolution! And the narrator, who is speaking, likes this, saying, that's the spirit. Now we see the cabin at the top of a small hill, a path laid out to the front door. The night stars twinkle in the sky. A warning, before you go any further. She will lie. She will cheat. She will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. The voice of the hero wonders why we're doing this. Shouldn't we be saving princesses? But the narrator tells you, the player, to ignore the voice of the hero.
Oh, wow. So immediately breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, this immediately put me into a different seat because I was like, oh, I'm the hero. The hero is a separate motherfucker.
Okay.
We don't know who that is. And my choice immediately conflicted with their inner thoughts, and the narrator acknowledges that.
That's wild.
My positioning is immediately separated from the characters within the story, but I'm still an active part of the story.
Oh, that's fascinating. Because immediately, like, that makes me feel like, okay, you might not agree with everything that's about to happen.
You're jumping.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that's like the whole thing. No, but it's interesting when you see these voices, and like the narrator and the hero are voiced. There's one male voice, one female voice, and
Right.
the one male voice is going to be all these voices you have in your head. The female voice is the princess. So everything else is Jonathan Sims, and it is a beautiful, incredible performance. He is absolutely like balls to the wall. There are different voices he's going to do. They are all completely different.
Oh,
he
wow.
brings different energy to everything. He's a fantastic performer, as is the princess. The princess performance, fantastic. The voice acting is truly one of the biggest standouts aside from the art. The art is insane, and you can tell it's hand drawn. It's all so beautiful. Oh, so great. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floors and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. I took the blade and headed into the basement. The narrator confirms it'll be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. I head to the basement and hear the princess ask, "Who's there?" And I immediately, I said, "Hey, I think I'm here to kill you." She laughed at me like you did and said, "Oh, are you now? Why don't you come down here and let me take a look at you?" Because she's like, "Bitch, you are not trying to fucking do that right now."
That's great.
The narrator sarcastically says, "Great job. You gave away the element of surprise."
This just sounds like, honestly, like a new take, like a new sarcastic take on a text adventure.
Very much so. The princess is a skinny white woman in a dress. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. The hero wonders if she's really a threat to the world. The narrator tells the hero to focus on the task at hand. She sees the blade and says, "Oh, you weren't kidding when you said you were here to kill me." I step forward with the blade and she taunts me. She says, "If that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. You should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do." The narrator tells me not to hesitate, and I don't. I consider my options. Talk to her. I could ask her to talk. I could drop the blade, but I decide to do as the game says. I select slay the princess. I step forward, lunging without a moment's hesitation. The princess's large eyes water, and I stab through her chest. The flesh gives way, and the blade sinks deep into her heart. The slice boils red with her blood. She's surprised at the action and asks, "This is it, isn't it?" I'm almost embarrassed. I should have seen that coming, but I have to wonder, do you actually believe this was enough to kill me? Her body slumps to the ground with her eyes locked on me. The blade sticks out, a flag planted in her chest, proof that her life was conquered. The hero says, "It's like she's convinced she can't die." Her eyes roll cold, and the narrator agrees. Yeah, even as she lays there dying, she entirely believes herself to be alive and well. But it's over, isn't it? She stopped breathing moments ago, that arrogant look still plastered on her face. Her hair looks wiry, like snakes escaping a nest. And the hero wonders aloud if it's over? Is it really over?
Easy game.
Yeah, and yes, the mission was to slay the princess, and I did that. It's over.
Good episode.
Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The narrator leads me out. He says, "With your work done, you make your way back up the stairs, closing the door to the basement behind you. We're at the top of the cabin and leave, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom." I open the door, and the narrator describes, only a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is nothing at all. Where a lush forest stood mere moments ago, the only thing in front of you now is the vast emptiness of some place far away. Through the door is darkness, not from night, but from nothing. The narrator assures us everything is fine. It's just that you and the cabin are now far away from everyone. Don't worry, you'll be safe here, and this is good. Everyone is happy. You'll be happy. I figure I was kind of hoping I'd get a better ending for saving the world.
Yeah.
And the narrator explains, look, this isn't an ending. In fact, now that the princess has been slain, endings are a thing of the past. This is the beginning of eternity. This is your reward. This is what's best for everyone.
This is the happily ever after?
The door closes and we're in the cabin. The narrator explains that here time passes. You can't be sure if it's days or months or years or even decades. It's all a wonderful, boring blur. You've never been happier. More happy time passes, though the word begins to lose its meaning. Time, that is, not happy. Happy still has plenty of meaning. The hero begs to shake yourself out of this. We have to get out of here, but the narrator authoritatively says, the little voices please fall on deaf ears. Eventually, you pass into a blissful state of pure existence. You simply exist. Happy. Forever. I got a page with a hand-drawn set of balloons, and it says, good ending! You did it! You saved everyone!
Congratulations.
In the corner is the princess, dead with X's over her eyes and her tongue hanging out. And there's applause in the audio. I got a title card, the credits started rolling, and I realized I fucked up. Like, I just sat there and was like, is the game not called Slay the Princess?
So there are premature endings.
There are premature endings, so like immediately, fuck me, right?
Okay.
And obviously this is the first available ending in Slay the Princess, and I didn't intend to end the game here. I was just following orders. It's very clearly stated to slay the princess, and I'm hearing myself say that and realizing we're in a horror game from Serenity Forge, so obviously that's not what you were supposed to do.
Right.
You dumb bitch. So first of all, I'm sorry. And second of all, this is Slay the Princess. I started over. There's a lush forest and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I tell the narrator, I'm not doing this. And I walk down the path away from the cabin. The narrator is annoyed, but the hero is pleased. Even though we wandered away, the path led to the cabin. And the narrator is happy about this, calling it convenient. He says maybe the world can be saved after all. I choose to leave again, and the narrator calls me selfish, and he says, if you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies forever.
End of the world.
I turn to leave again, and he says my silence is deafening. I leave again and again, and the path leads back to the cabin. The narrator says, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess. And I leave again, and the narrator says, as I trudge into the woods, something strange begins to happen. At first, little flickers out of the corner of my eyes, glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the trees. But as I focus on my surroundings, I start to realize those flickers weren't just a trick of the light. Suddenly, here in the forest, several cabins appear. I am surrounded.
Oh.
In every direction, there's a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the infinite fractal paths of cabins desperately trying to draw me back to where I need to be. I am surrounded.
There's always a hero. There's always a cabin.
There's always a lighthouse, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You told me to slay the princess. I slayed the princess and I fucked everything up. So now I go and don't slay the princess. And you got me fucked up. It's like being in an escape room and being bad at it.
Oh no, that's your worst nightmare.
Yeah, genuinely my worst nightmare. The hero asks what's going on, and the narrator chides him, saying, you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world, and you're dooming us all. You know that, right? Oh, but of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness. It isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies.
You're bad at this game now.
I think I've been bad at this game, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's be so fucking for real. Chapter 2. The Stranger. There's a lush forest and it appears to be nighttime. There are walls at the edge of the forest. You're on a path in the woods. At the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it'll be the end of the world. I say, hey, those walls weren't there last time. And the narrator says, what are you talking about? Those walls have always been there. It actually makes sense if you think about it, which feels fucked up.
Yeah.
Because in my last round, I wandered away and it got mad at me. The hero says it's a good thing if he doesn't remember. A new voice enters, the voice of the contrarian. The contrarian says, I don't know, I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience. He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day. The narrator can hear this, and he says, oh, if you mean by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever? Then yeah, I suppose there are plenty of ways you can pull that off. The hero is beside himself. He says, oh God, the world really did end last time, didn't it? Annoyed, the narrator says to stay focused at the task ahead. I head to the cabin at the top of a small hill, a path laid out to the front door. The night stars twinkle in the sky. There's a large wall around the hill. The narrator says, a warning, before you go any further, she will lie, she will cheat, she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Here's the thing, it wasn't that hard to slay her when you actually slayed her.
Yeah, and then I really fucked up by not going near her at all, so like I don't know what to do.
I'm starting to think the narrator's the fucking liar here.
Inside the cabin, the interior is shifted, an inch here, a foot here, but it's all wrong. The only furniture of note is a plain table, its legs all the wrong lengths. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The contrarian says to take the blade and throw it out the window. The hero says, hey man, take the fucking knife. We might need that. The narrator says this is an incredibly simple and straightforward premise. Take the blade, slay the princess, save the world. Don't be afraid, just kill her. Don't lose yourself. The contrarian asks what happens if we lose ourselves, and the narrator says, you know what, just move fast enough that it doesn't happen. The narrator, the hero, and the contrarian fight. The contrarian sarcastically pokes at the narrator, and the narrator grows irritated and impatient, and the hero's just nervous because all this is kind of freaking him out. There's a full-length mirror on the wall that wasn't there last time, so I go to it. The narrator describes it as a wall. He doesn't acknowledge the mirror at all, but the hero is like, this is not a wall, this is a mirror. It's covered in a layer of grime, so I wipe it off. Reaching out, I see my arm is the arm of a monster. My arms are massive and hairy, and there's dark claws at the end of each of my fingers. As I reach out, the mirror disappears, and the narrator says, I just touched the wall. I step back, and where there was once a mirror is just a wall. It's back to as it was before, nothing on the wall. I take the blade, and the contrarian says, I'm holding the knife wrong, so you should probably fix that. And I say, fuck you. I'm going to hold it how I want. The world shifts just a little, spinning like I'm drunk. I say, you know what? Fuck it, you're right. Let's see what happens. And I throw the knife out the window.
Okay.
You don't have to. And I'm going to say this now. I don't think I made the right decision.
That seems to be the theme of the game so far,
Is
though.
I'm fucking up. The contrarian cheers and the narrator sighs and the glass shatters and the knife flies into the night. The hero is very upset. He says, I wish we still had a weapon. There's a small crack in the floorboards of the cabin that makes way for darkness, like we're floating in space. The narrator wishes us well, and we enter the basement. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a web of branching staircases all built from unidentifiable materials. The stairs spiral through darkness, layering over each other like an M.C. Escher painting. The narrator says, nothing here seems to belong. None of the stairs seem to go anywhere, let alone down. The air here has a sickening, almost slime-like miasma to it, an odor that is simultaneously everything, and yet the sum of it all coalescing into a thick, nauseating nothing.
Oh, wow, this is really overwritten in a good way.
A voice calls through the nothing, a distorted version of the princess asking, hello? What are you doing here? Are you here to kill me? The hero says, no thank you. And the contrarian calls him a baby, and the boys are fighting. The hero says, I don't want to do this. This feels wrong. This feels like a trap. Like, whatever we do, we're going to die. We don't even have a weapon because you threw it out the fucking window, Andrea. The contrarian and the narrator fight, so I take a soft set of stairs to the right. The stairs cradle me down, leading me into dissension. The further we go, the deeper we sink in. First, it's like a lovely plush carpet, but soon enough, we're fighting just to keep our knees from sinking out of sight. The softness threatens to swallow me whole. It's slow going, but I fight through the urge to fall into comfort and nothingness. The world flips through images of the forest, the path, the cabin, the stairs into the basement. The narrator says I slowly lose sense of myself the further I go. Time disappears, and I feel myself beginning to untether. The world flips through more simple images of the world, line drawings of the cabin, the path, losing their shades and shadows. The world disappears and simply goes away. The narrator confirms, I'm losing myself. Through the spiral into nothingness, the princess breaks my concentration. She's still chained to the wall in the basement, and her eyes are shiny, welling with tears. She is alone, and she asks, Are you okay? The hero asks what happened, and the contrarian says, I feel so strange, like I'm fundamentally different, but still the same person I was at the top of the stairs. Oh well, now that's over. The narrator snaps back, saying, The princess, eyes bright, but otherwise shrouded in darkness, watches you impatiently from the other side of the basement. Do not forget why you're here. I ask the princess what her name is, and she says, you can call me Princess. As she says this, she splits. A second version of her appears in a way an image gets duplicated through a kaleidoscope. The same view distorted in a circle and replicated to be almost the same as the original. The hero's nervous. He says, hey, I don't like this. This is like the cabins all over again. Can we put her back together? The narrator asks, You've been here before, right? What happened last time? It seems to me like you saw something you weren't supposed to have seen. If only you'd listened to whatever words of wisdom you were given in that other reality, probably by me. But what's done is done, isn't it? Whatever you saw last time, unsee it. Whatever thoughts weaseled their way into your head, unthink them, if it's not already too late. You have a job to do, and you need to do it now. The contrarian chimes in, saying, Hey, new plan, let's see if we can make more of her. I tell the princess, Hey, getting down here, I feel like I was pulled apart and put back together again. Do you know what happened to me? She says, I don't know, but it looks like you're in one piece now. But I understand, sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled apart too. It's so terrifying down here, but at least we're not alone. We're probably stuck down here forever, aren't we? She splits again, the kaleidoscope creating a third princess, even more distorted and slightly sadder than the first two, sitting upside down in the corner of the screen. She says, I don't remember what it was like before I was in this place. Why would I know what happened to you? And I tell her, hey, there's more of you. We got a third one now. She asks, do you need help? Not that there's much I can do chained up like this, but I'm the only one down here, so I guess if you need anything, I'll do my best. I don't feel like I've gotten any bigger. Also, what's that supposed to mean? Are you trying to get under my skin? She splits again, a fourth princess appearing fully sideways. The narrator remarks that she is fractured again. The hero's uneasy, and so is the narrator. The narrator reminds you to slay her now before things get more complicated than they already are.
With what, though?
I don't know. I would just kick her.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with kicking. I tell her, you're apparently a threat to the world, and I was sent here to slay you. She says, but I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world. You don't think I'm some sort of monster, do you? She splits again, a fifth princess appearing in a corner. Her voice becomes distorted, crunchy, and filtered, and she says, because I am. Everything you've heard about me is true, and I'm going to lay waste to everything.
Oh, shit.
Starting with you. Each of the 5 princesses in the kaleidoscope we see have slightly different expressions, each one more frustrated and determined. Each one slightly more in shadows, with wider eyes focused at me. 5 of the same faces, reflected and refracted back at me, in an image in a broken mirror, giving me the same person for different perspectives. The narrator says, "This is reaching its breaking point. If you don't act now, there will be nothing in here but her. Take a deep breath and focus up. You can do this." The hero asks, "But how do we decide what to do? Can there even be a right choice when all of them are so different?" The narrator commands the hero to stop overthinking it. Your drifting thoughts have clearly been part of the reason the situation has gotten out of hand. If you're trying to do the right thing, there's only ever been one option, and that option is slaying her. The contrarian begs, "You know what? Honestly, just do something. Do anything." "All I can do is regret throwing the knife out the fucking window." The narrator explains, "You take a step forward. Your foot lands, but it lands different. You experience a firm footfall, a gentle tread, a confident stride. You can feel yourself rupture. The room spins, your perception multiplying in a sickening kaleidoscope as your very self is pulled in incomprehensibly many directions. You find the blade suddenly in your hand. All at once, you use it to strike at her bindings, and you remain upstairs and slay and leave her to languish alone. We're in a spiral of choice. Each of the 5 princesses exists together and separately. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Oh no.
One is deep in the basement watching me leave. One is at the end of my knife. One is manic, looking at me like meat. They are all real and true and happening all in front of me." The narrator asks, "Is this what the end of the world looks like?" What a mess. The 5 princesses begin to swirl, each of their realities piling on, layers of one massive cake all together, and happy and angry and sad and elated. The 5 begin to blend together, eyes pulling together, hair weaving into itself, her arms and legs sliding into one. She spins into a blur, and the contrarian is furious and scared, and the hero is terrified and immobile, useless at the feet of fear. And then there's darkness. The narrator says, "Luckily for all of us, nothing and everything doesn't go on forever. The world and the princess collapse in on themselves before it all." The hero asks, "Does it all fall apart?" At the thought of it all falling apart is a monument to the princess. She's sad, she's alone, she's stabbed through the heart, she's everything together. The narrator's voice is replaced with a beating heart. The contrarian realizes the narrator is gone, and the hero asks, "Oh God, we're never going to salvage this, are we?"
Mm-mm.
The voice of the princesses layer themselves, all speaking together at once from each of their 5 mouths. They ask, "What happened to us? Where are we? There are parts of us that are dead, and others they just don't fit. We can feel them moving around in spaces they don't belong." Their faces hold together, the knife still sticking out from one of them. The contrarian says, "Hey, I think we should help her. I think we did this. I didn't actually think our actions had consequences." The hero is surprised at this kindness, and I tell the princess, "I'll do my best." Her multitude of arms reach out, blooming like princess petals, then spiral into nothing, taking her with them until she's gone. The screen is dark. Then the mirror we saw earlier appears, floating in the darkness. Under the mirror are the words, but you don't know if she had the chance to hear you reply. She's gone, replaced with something else. The hero says, "Wait, she's gone? Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?" I approach the mirror, and the hero says, "I'm begging you, don't do this." I ignore the hero and approach the mirror. The hero says, "Hey, this doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final." The contrarian agrees, saying, "I don't like that thing." Text appears, saying, "The voices feel small, distant as you approach." My arm comes out, the same monster arm as before, fur and patches and long claws and all. The text says, "Silence as you reach forward. They're gone, but the mirror remains. It's time for you to see what's in it." In the glass, another arm reaches back to meet mine. The text says, "It's you." The screen is black, and the white text says, "You are alone in a place that is empty. It is quiet here." The only action option appears. Proceed to the cabin. There's footsteps, and then in darkness, in the distance is the princess, burning. The text says you are at the cabin. The haunting wind sounds lay waste to soft piano. Your only option is to approach her. Getting closer, the fire that was there shows it wasn't flames, it was her arms. Her infinite arms swirl around her, covering her face and eyes. There's an insurmountable number of princesses all layered on top of her, and her soft voice says, "Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel." And I ask her, "Is this the end of the world?" She asks me, "How can the world have ended if we're talking?" Fair.
Yeah.
I ask her, "What are you?" She says, "I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you?" I tell her, "I don't know what I am." And she tells me, "I think you are like me. We're oceans reduced to shallow creeks." And I tell her, "I'm not an ocean, I'm a lake."
I was waiting for it.
I didn't say that. I ask her, "Do you know the narrator?" She says, "You're the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us." I ask her, "What happens now?" She tells me nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. I ask her, "How much will I forget?" And she tells me, "Everything until we meet again." I tell her I was sent to slay the princess to stop her from destroying the world. If I help you, is that what you're going to do? She tells me, "You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold." I say, "All right."
Not always. That's the thing.
Yeah. You're like, "No, you can absolutely fuck some shit up."
Yeah.
I tell her to make me forget. Her voice rings out saying, "She asked that I tell you to remember her. You won't." Her arms continue to flicker like flames behind her misshapen body. The world goes dark then, and the screen says, "Everything goes dark, and you die." Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
Oh my god.
There's a lush forest, and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of the path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Oh my gosh. It's not a loop, it's a spiral.
I asked the narrator, "Hey man, have you considered that maybe the only reason she's going to end the world is because she's locked up?" The narrator fucking hates that.
Right.
He says, "While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me reassure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of my time asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view the situation. Causality doesn't matter here because the end result is the same no matter what led us to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there's no changing that. There's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched, and the egg is about to ruin everything, unless, of course, you do your job and slay her." And I'm like, okay, fine.
But we know what happens if you slay her.
Good ending. Wait, so is that his point? I make my way up the short path to the cabin. The narrator says I'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie. She will cheat. She will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
I mean, we've tried that too. We've tried. Oh my goodness.
The voice of the hero wonders why we're doing this. Shouldn't we be saving princesses? But the narrator tells you, the player, to ignore the voice of the hero. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floors and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. I enter the basement, leaving the blade on the table upstairs. Because, fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, you're at least not throwing it out this time.
I didn't throw it out the window. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor, according to the narrator, who again just wants you to kill her.
Yeah.
Her voice softly carries up the stairs. She says, "Hello? Is someone there?" The hero calls her voice hypnotizing, saying it's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember the rest of your life. The narrator tells the hero it's all part of the manipulation. I continue down the stairs and see the princess is a skinny white woman in a dress. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. The hero wonders if she's really a threat to anyone. She says, "Hey, do you think you can get me out of these chains?" I tell her I'll see what I can do, and I approach her. Her big eyes lock onto me, looking kind and grateful for the proximity. She says, "Thank you." And the narrator says, "I am making a huge mistake." The hero says, "I'm doing the right thing." I tug at the chains. They're large and heavy, far too solid for me to even imagine trying to break them apart. She says, "I'm guessing you don't have the key." I don't, and I tell her I'll check upstairs, and if I can't find it, I'll try to find something to break her free. She wishes me luck, and I turn to go up the stairs, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut.
Shit.
I hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Who the fuck?
The hero asks, "Hey, is someone there?" And I try the door, but it's locked from the outside. I go back to the bottom of the stairs, and the narrator yells at me for not taking the blade. Fair. Okay, I see your point in this situation.
Yeah, like, it's useful now.
I go back to the princess, and she says, "I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? Ugh, if I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together." The narrator describes what you see. He says, "She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf.
No, that's not the direction this should go."
As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clanging of a bouncing metal. The princess is just straight up gnawing at her arm, tearing herself apart to free herself, all at a moment's notice in front of me. It's fucking horrifying.
She's gonna not be great at helping you open that door, missing a hand.
I turn and see the blade from upstairs has appeared down here in the basement. The narrator says, "If there's a time to strike, it's right now." The hero steps in, saying, "Or we could use it to free her." The narrator states plainly, "You won't like what happens if you do that." We're split with two paths: save the princess or slay the princess. I save her. The narrator says, "Fine. Against your better judgment." You place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. She looks up at me, blood dripping from her mouth from where she was just tearing herself apart. I hate this. I cut into her flesh.
Ugh.
I hate it.
This is not how I would have done it.
You don't have a choice, to be very clear. You're
No,
just
I
like,
get that.
"Can you help her? Cool. Cut her arm off. Go full saw." And the blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. She detached her hand, still in the chain, from herself, releasing the rest of her from imprisonment. And I just gotta say, this is fucking disgusting. I hate this art. I hate this moment. It's too visceral for me. It was too much. Her hand falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal.
That's just psychotic behavior.
Maniacal. She smiles softly as her gaze meets mine, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. The hero asks, "How is she still smiling?" It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Is she Elijah Wood in Sin City? Like, fuck.
She says simply, "Thank you. Now let's get out of here." Together, we approach the locked door. Then the screen goes black. The narrator says, "No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. I can't just let her escape into the world." He states, "As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade." The hero stops him saying, whoa, that's not fair. You can't just do that. And the narrator says, watch me.
Oh my god.
The princess turns and asks, what are you doing? There is a wall of text options here, all saying, slay the princess.
Shit.
Except for one that says, warn her. I take it and I warn her, and she takes a step back away from me. And the narrator says, stop that. She says, something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right? The screen goes black and the narrator says, your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. We come back and I'm holding the blade, my claws curled around the handle. The princess's bloody stump leaves a red trail around her. The narrator demands, stop it! Stop trying to resist me! I'm trying to get you out of here alive! Another long list of options appear, all saying, slay the princess. Except for one that says resist. I find that and I resist, and the narrator screams, the blade! Move the blade! The princess stands. She takes a cautious step forward while I stand frozen, fighting myself. She says, we both know this isn't you. The narrator says, she nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing? She holds the blade and says, I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick. The narrator describes, she plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony, but you aren't dead yet. She says, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The hero says, stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake.
Toughing out getting stabbed?
Yeah, it's so punk. The narrator hates this. He says, oh, what, for her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again. And you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body. She keeps stabbing you, screaming, I'm sorry, with each thrust. Her dress is drenched in your blood as you bleed out. You look up at her. The narrator says, with one last thrust of your knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest. Near death, the hero asks, wait, it can't just end like this, right? The princess leans in closer, and the narrator says, oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choices. It's over. The princess's eyes are sopping wet from tears. She's horrified and heartbroken. The narrator says, everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 2, The Damsel. There's a lush forest, and it appears to be nighttime.
Oh, no.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I go to the cabin. A warning. Before you go any further, she will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Just slay her, honestly. At this point, holy shit. This is fucking insane.
The voice of the smitten, a new voice, says, if only you knew what you did to us, villain. The narrator says, I'm sorry, excuse me? The hero blows this off, saying, you know what, forget he said anything. The voice of the smitten says, oh, but he is a villain. He made our beloved brutally take our life last time. He's trying to keep us apart, but he won't be able to withstand the power of our love. Okay, so a hopeless romantic has entered the chat.
Yeah.
The narrator says, last time? But the hero says, let's just try to ignore him. The smitten and the hero and the narrator bicker, just fighting over nothing. And I'm like, I fucking hate you guys. I'm going to the cabin.
The fact that, like, so many are acknowledging the loop except for the narrator.
What does it mean?
Julie, what the fuck?
The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine threaded tapestries. A prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. On the wall is a mirror. The narrator describes this wall as a wall, but the hero says, that's not a wall, there's a mirror there. It's covered in a layer of grime, so I wipe it off. Reaching out, I see my arm is the arm of a monster. My arms are massive and hairy, and there's dark claws at the end of each of my fingers. As I reach out, the mirror disappears, and the narrator says I touched the wall. This time I do take the blade from the table, and I head into the basement. Let's fucking see how this goes.
Yeah.
Down the stairs, the princess calls out, "Hello? Is someone there?" The smitten says, "Oh, her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I think we're in love."
Oh, no.
The hero says, "Oh, okay, I'm with you saying we should be doing whatever we can do to save her, but saying we're in love is a little bit much, don't you think? Like, we don't even know her. We can't see her. We can still do right by her without, like, fawning over her. You're being a fucking simp." The narrator says, "Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Her charms are all part of the manipulation." I continue down the stairs and see the princess is a skinny white woman in a dress. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. The smitten screams, "My love! We're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment." The narrator tells the smitten, "Hey man, you know she can't hear you, right?"
Okay. No, I don't know that.
She says, "It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back." The smitten is fucking cumming his pants to hear that we're dashing. Like, he's losing his fucking mind.
Oh my god, she likes me.
The hero is like, "I mean, I appreciate that I'm a hero. That's kind of my whole deal." The narrator fucking hates these two and says it takes absolutely nothing to win you over, clearly. But then he's stopped by a thought. He says, "Wait, did she say waiting for you to come back? You've been here before, haven't you? And that means you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but I guess what's done is done. What matters is that you had a chance to do it right this time." I want to know why the narrator doesn't remember.
Yeah.
The hero asks, "I'm sorry, wait, we damned a whole world? But look, everything reset." The narrator clarifies, No, nothing resets. You're just somewhere else, and you can't keep hopping between worlds forever, especially not without leaving a trail of incomprehensible devastation behind you. This is horrible." I ask the princess, "What happened after I died?" She says, "Well, you died, and now we're talking." I ask her, "Do I have to cut you out again? I really didn't like that last time. That was fucked up." She says, "You know what? I'm okay with whatever you come up with. If you want to, you can cut my arm off again."
No, please have another option.
She says this while smiling, the stars lighting up her pale skin as it comes in through a window. The smitten states, "We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed we won't have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done." The narrator fucking hates the smitten so goddamn much, and it's deeply funny. He's like, "Shut the fuck up." The hero says, "Why are you arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she's okay with any idea we come up with, including cutting her arm off. Am I the only one who thinks that's weird? Because I think that's weird, and I think that's fucked up." The narrator agrees, saying, "Yeah, it is extremely bizarre behavior and further evidence that the princess is a monster who is not to be trusted. So I think we should go ahead and slay her." I tell the princess, "Look, I'm sorry about what happened last time. The narrator who sent me out here to kill you took over my body, which felt extremely unfair." She says, "No worries." The hero does not like how chill she is about this. He is like, "I feel suspicious. She's acting weird. I don't feel heroic. I feel uncomfortable."
Yeah, this feels like a completely different princess now.
The hero wonders out loud, and by out loud, just to me. The only people that are speaking in the scene are me and the princess, but all the voices are happening for the player, for me. The hero wonders if the princess has a narrator telling her what to do.
Oh, shit.
The narrator says, "She does not. There's no one else like me."
Why,
Okay.
though? Like, why are you the only narrator? Oh, man. Hero is asking the right questions.
Here, I fuck with Hero. I'm gonna give you that right now.
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like the Hero is a very good companion through the series. Show. Game? Whatever we're doing.
Experience?
Experience! I asked the princess, did the world end? Did you end the world? And she says, I don't know. Was I supposed to have ended the world? Would that have made you happy? The smitten says, isn't that just like our darling princess? She wants to make us happy. My heart melts further with every word that passes through her beautiful lips. The narrator says, I'm sorry, did you fucking hear her? That was a confession. I tell the princess, I don't want the world to end. She gleefully says, okay, then I didn't end the world. The smitten takes this as a win and says, see, she didn't end the world. The hero is not so sure, and neither am I. So here, I decide to slay the princess.
Oh, okay.
I walk to her with my blade. The smitten is furious and says, you barbarian, what do you think you're doing? The narrator says to press on. The princess's eyes grow wide with terror, but she just lets this happen. The blade goes through her chest, and she asks if she did something wrong. The smitten screams out and apologizes to her. She says, all right, I'm going to die now. I think that's what you want. Her eyes close, and the blood pools in her dress. The narrator says, and just like that, she's dead, and the world is saved. Thank you for seeing this through. I know it must have been difficult. The music stops, and the princess lays dead in the basement of the cabin. The hero looks at her body and says, I feel sick. The smitten is disgusted and heartbroken. The narrator tells both of them that they'll get over it, and he's pleased everyone is saved. The smitten doesn't like that. The smitten screams, get over it? You smarmy ass. There's nothing in the world worth getting over it for. We might as well just end it all. The narrator describes what's happening. Your claws grip the blade, and he says, you raise the blade, aiming the point directly at your heart. Excuse me. No, I'm sorry. You absolutely do not do that. The hero says, yeah. Hey, man, let's not make any rash decisions. Let's just take a minute and take a deep breath. And the smitten is furious and says, rash? The only rash decision we made was running our cursed blade through her heart. This is far from rash. This is measured. This is the only thing left for us to do now that she's gone.
This guy has seen Romeo and Juliet way too many times.
I consider the options and I go, you know what? Fuck it, we ball. If this is what you want to do, let's see what happens. The hero hates this. He says, no. Let's not fucking do that. And the smitten says, you won't use your fancy reverse psychotherapeutics on me, murderer. We're dying together right now. The narrator fucking hates everyone.
I don't blame them.
But he relents to the whims and wishes of the smitten. He says, oh my Jesus Christ, I don't believe this. You plunge the blade into your own heart.
This sounds like a fed up DM during some D&D session.
Yes!
Where some asshole is trying to derail everything. And they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We ball. Let's do that.
You rolled a 20? Nat 20? Fine. Fuck you. You collapse on the floor.
Fine. You kill yourself. Now what?
The hero, the logical person at the table, says, you can't be serious right now. The narrator apologizes to the hero, blaming me and blaming the smitten. We lay on the ground, dying next to the princess. The narrator, I assume, rolls his eyes and says, everything goes dark and you die. Chapter 3, The Gray. There is a dry, brittle forest, and it appears to be nighttime.
Of course.
The voice of the smitten calls you a monster.
Oh.
He says, the princess had best be alive and well when we return to the cabin, or you'll never know the end of his wrath. A new voice enters, the voice of the cold. The cold says, she won't be alive, and we will return to that cabin because she's dead. We killed her. The smitten says, you killed her, so I killed you. And the cold tells him, and you clearly didn't do a good enough job. I'm still here.
Talking shit.
The hero says, hey, I'm still here too. Isn't that crazy? The hero's my buddy. Like, the narrator, has absolutely not a drop of anything but contempt for the voices he's surrounded by and is immediately impatient with everyone. He says, okay, so you've been here before. Of course you've been here before. What count is it this time, 2? The cold says, it's our 3rd. What gave it away? Despite this being the cold's first appearance, the cold is very clearly aware we've done this before and has memories of what happened before.
Oh my gosh, they just haven't spoken up yet.
The voices argue about life and death. The hero overall says, I'm not fond of dying, so I would like to not do that again. The narrator cuts them off saying, okay, you know what? Shut the fuck up. Let me remind you that if you're here in the woods, it means that the princess is not dead and that her very existence currently poses a direct threat to the entire world. I say, all of you, shut the fuck up. Whatever happens next, it seems like all of our answers are in the cabin. We might as well see this through. We head to the cabin. The narrator tells us not to muck it up this time. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. The cabin at the top of a small hill, a path laid out to the front door, is right in front of me. I go to the cabin, and the narrator says, the interior of the cabin feels dry and brittle. Ancient, dust-covered wooden beams hold up a crumbling ceiling like mummified ribs, each elegantly carved detail of the stately building preserved in extended stasis. Everything here has been kept safe and dry and lifeless.
Is this the first time the narrator's saying this part?
No, the narrator's been bringing it up. But
Okay,
it's just like, this one feels really fucked up. In here, there's no table and no blade.
Oh.
Where the door to the basement usually is a mirror. To the left of the mirror is a ghost of the princess, a see-through apparition of her, standing, looking into the mirror. The narrator says you're not alone. You can feel something watching you. There's a figure faintly outlined against the dusty wood of the far wall. He does not acknowledge the mirror. The hero asks if that's her, and the smitten says, yes, our beloved, she lives! The cold says, she doesn't look very alive to me. The narrator says before you can make a move, the figure is gone, vanishing behind the door on the far side of the room. The hero corrects him, saying, but that isn't a door, it's a mirror. The narrator says, I'm sorry, no, is that some kind of joke? There isn't a mirror. There's no mirror there. There's a door and a table with the blade. Wait, I'm sorry, there's supposed to be a blade. Why isn't there a blade?
Where'd the blade go, guys?
The cold says, maybe it's gone because we've already killed her with it. The narrator describes his feelings and what happens, saying, you know what? It doesn't matter why the blade is gone, but you do have to find it to kill her. So march over to that door, go down to the basement. You make your way to the door at the end of the room, stopping just in front of it. You must think you're looking at that mirror you mentioned earlier, the one that doesn't exist. You know what? Just reach forward and open the door. You're standing in front of the mirror, and the hero says, it's still so hazy, we should try and clean it off. The cold says touching it is the magic spell to get it out of the way. The smitten says, it's time for all of you to see what you've become. He fucking hates us all.
Yeah.
Reaching out, I see my arm is the arm of a monster. My arms are hairy and massive, and there's dark claws at the end of each of my fingers. As I reach out, the mirror disappears, and the narrator says I touched the door to the basement. The cold says, so much for our reflection. And the smitten says, oh, we are too hideous for even a mirror to behold. We can only hope she may still see some good in us. The hero, I assume, rolls his eyes and says, you know what? There's no way left to go but down. Also, you guys are fucking weird. We enter the basement. The narrator says the air here is so stale it practically stands still, as if the very molecules of this place have been fossilized, trapped for eons until our arrival. A wispy figure watches from the bottom of the stairs, face veiled in the shadow. The hero says, oh my god, there she is again. The smitten calls out for his love, and the cold calls her an old memory. The narrator says, your eyes lock, then she vanishes around the corner. I go down the stairs and see her. The narrator says, as you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view. A skeletal body laying in a heap on the floor, her wrists still bound to the wall by a heavy chain. This cell is a dark and isolated place, with not so much as a window to allow starlight to penetrate the gloom. The cold points out that she's dead. The smitten can't believe it. He's freaking out. The hero says we saw a ghost, which kind of freaks him out. I don't think he likes ghosts.
Who does?
The narrator says, your thoughts are interrupted by the sound of a slamming door and a clicking lock.
Oh, shit. Again. Who the fuck is up there?
You turn to see the shade of the princess staring down at you from the top of the stairs, holding a torch. There's a blade sticking out of her chest, and that's where the blade is. It's already in her heart, and yet she isn't dead. But the cold says, she is dead. Have you never heard of a ghost before? The narrator doesn't believe in ghosts, which deeply funny.
That is pretty good.
And he says, look, she's clearly conscious. She clearly just slammed the door on you. And she clearly has a weapon. She has the pristine blade sticking out of her chest. I'm gonna let you know right now, this is extremely bad. Catastrophic even. The hero says, okay, but dead or not, what are we supposed to do about her? The smitten demands we make amends. She clearly still loves us. The hero says, she hasn't even fucking said anything. How? You're delusional. And then the princess speaks now, telling me, you came back. I missed you. The smitten screams that they missed her too. And she says, look, this is a bad place. We're supposed to be together, but this place keeps making us hurt each other. The torch falls from the princess's hand and it bounces down the stairs. She says, it'll be so much better when it's gone. The skeletal wood of the basement, perfectly dry after uncountable years of decay, immediately catches fire. The hero says, oh, she's trying to kill us. The smitten blows this off, calling it a misplaced escalation of her passions. I run up the stairs and the entire cabin erupts into a raging inferno.
Oh no.
I ignore the princess, throwing myself against the door to break through. The narrator says, it's no use. You're stuck here. Your skin starts to bubble. Layers of you peel away into raw, seeping burns,
Ugh.
and then you feel a hand on yours. You turn to see the princess, face bright and smile wide with manic affection. She clutches you close to her chest, watching with loving eyes as the flames eat you away, bit by bit.
Dear God, that is horrifying.
The music swells and the blade sits deep in her chest. The narrator describes that the pain is unbearable at first. Every inch of you screams as your flesh is stripped away, your muscles stiffen as they've cooked, your blood boiling in your veins. It isn't long before the flames take your nerves, and with them, your ability to feel much of anything. As you die, you look into the princess, and the cold says, see, that wasn't so bad.
Oh my God, that's the worst way to go.
The hero says, that was so bad. That fucking sucked. But the nothing is actually so much worse. The cold tells the hero, you'll get used to it. The narrator says the princess's smile never fades. Her skin peels away and then her muscle until all you can see is her charring skull locked in an eternal grin. The music fades down to quiet now, and the smitten says, it's very romantic, really. We got our happy ending after all. We can die happy. And I suppose we do. Her multitude of arms reach out, blooming like princess petals, then spiral into nothing, taking her with them until she's gone. Through the darkness, the mirror appears in the center of it all. White text says, but despite your best efforts, you do not die. It's time for you to leave. Memory returns.
What the fuck? Honestly, this is insanity. Also, I just want to take this moment to say, if you haven't seen the movie Is God Is, totally out of context, you should definitely see that.
Oh my God, no, the context sucked. Well, that is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But a lot of fire.
Yeah.
The hero says, wait, she's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Wait, there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? I approach the mirror and the hero says, this doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. The voice of the smitten says, I fear we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here for a while? The cold says, ignore the cowards. You have to look. Text appears saying the voices feel small, distant as you approach. My arm comes out, the same monster arm as before. Fur and patches and long claws and all. Silence as I reach forward, but they're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but I need to see what's in it. In the glass, another arm reaches back to meet yours. The text says, you've grown. We're in the nothing, and the mirror and your reflection are gone. White text says, you find yourself in the long quiet once again. The only option being to proceed toward the cabin. There's footsteps, and then in the darkness, in the distance, is the princess. Burning. The text says, you are at the cabin. The haunting wind sounds lay waste to soft piano. Your only option is to approach her. Getting closer, the fire that was there shows it wasn't flames. It was her arms. Her infinite arms swirl around her, covering her face and eyes. There's an insurmountable number of the princess all layered on top of her, and her soft voice says, flickering lights in an empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. I can see her body, and the prime princess in the center is burned from our last encounter. She says, whenever you're ready, I'll wipe your slate clean once again. There's many options here. I can ask her about the vessels. I can tell her I don't want to hurt her. I can tell her I'll just stand here forever. I can thank her. I can tell her I'll kill her. I can attack her. But here at the feet of the martyr of time, I want to give to her. So I destroy my body. White text says, you raise your will to end your life, but as it buries into the space your body should be, you feel nothing at all. One of the many hands in front of you reaches forward and gently touches the side of your face. She tells me there's nowhere for you to be but here. So I try the opposite approach. I attack her. White text says, your will cuts across the eternity in front of you, but nothing happens. She says my roots burrow in an ocean beyond your sight. We cannot harm each other as we are now. She told me this after, but okay.
Right.
I tell her I'm ready to go back, and she says, I will long for your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again. The world goes dark, and the screen says, everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
Oh my god.
There's a lush forest, and it appears to be nighttime.
Yep.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Is this game a metaphor for the descent into insanity? Because holy shit, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can reflect a lot of things. I think it can be like toxic relationships, not necessarily romantic all the time, but like different variations of like, this time will be different.
Yeah, returning
This
to
will
one
change
over and over again.
Yeah, and what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
100%. Okay, so I'm not entirely off base for thinking that.
You're not crazy. The game makes you crazy.
Oh my, I feel like I am.
I make my way up the short path to the cabin. The narrator says I'll find the princess within. A warning, before you go any further, she will lie, she will cheat, she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. I go to the cabin. The interior of the cabin is almost bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floors and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade.
There it is. Okay, good.
You're like, you better have that fucking blade. Now, you know I'm a little chaotic. I enter the basement, leaving the blade on the table.
Oh, come on.
Let's see what happens.
We did.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor, according to the narrator. Her voice softly carries up the stairs, and she asks, "Hello? Is someone there?" The hero calls her voice hypnotizing, saying it's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember the rest of your life. The narrator tells the hero, it's all part of the manipulation. I continue down the stairs and see the princess is a skinny white woman in a dress. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. The hero wonders if she's really a threat to anyone. She says, "Hi, do you think you can get me out of these chains?" Without a knife, I can't do much, and we know we're locked in down here. The narrator describes what you see. He says she barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf.
Oh, damn it. Not this again.
As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clanging of bouncing metal. The princess goes off to rip off her own arm again, just doing her own shit. And I turn, and I see the blade from upstairs is now here in the basement with me.
So it will deliver itself to you. Okay.
The knife will always come around. The narrator says, if there's a time to strike, it's now. The hero steps in, saying, or we could use it to free her. And the narrator states plainly, you won't like what happens if you do that. We're split again with two paths. Save the princess or slay the princess.
I don't even know what's right anymore.
Now, last time I saved her, and we still ended up here. So here, I slay the princess. Without hesitation, I bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. The wound drives her to the ground. She growls, screaming, "You bastard! Were you lying to me the whole time?" The princess pushes away from me, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets my eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator. She says, "You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that could possibly save you from me." The hero says, "Uh-oh." I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us. You guys, this is pretty fucked up. The narrator says, "Oh my God, it's an act. She's wounded and she's unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you."
She's literally unarmed.
Damn. The narrator says, "Do not waver now." He describes her movements, saying, as you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her own arm. Your blade cuts into her again and again, and as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw. The hero says, "You know what? Fuck this. Forget about trying to rescue her. This is just about survival now.
Yeah.
Give her everything you've got." The princess's eyes are wide with panic and pain, her teeth more like fangs than ever before. The narrator says, "Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well. Your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees." The hero says, "Hey, buddy, we can still turn this around. You got this." I hate this. I want to leave the basement. I want to just let her die in here alone. I want to save myself. I already fucked her up. And the narrator says, she didn't get all the way through her arm. She's still chained to the wall.
Oh my God.
There's nothing she can do to stop you from getting out of here. And the hero goes, "Okay, hear me out. What if she doesn't succumb to her wounds? Like, whatever she is so much more dangerous than I thought she'd be." I rush up the stairs and I dive past the threshold. I'm safe for now, and I close the basement door, locking it behind me and quickly barricading it with that heavy wooden table that once held the blade. The hero says, "Okay, we can make this work. She has an awful wound, and we have all the time in the world. Playing jail keeper for a while might make things easier." We settle in against the far wall to watch the basement door. It isn't long before I start to drift off, but sleep doesn't come. Instead, rest is broken by a piercing, wailing voice calling out to me from the other side of the door. The princess screams, saying, "I know you're still there. Why don't you make things easier on yourself and let me out? It's not that this little door will hold for very long anyway. It's probably a good idea to try and get back on my good side." The hero says, "Hey man, she sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like she's less of a princess we saw and more of a nightmare." She begins to violently rattle the door and says, "Oh, when I get out of here, I'm going to pick you apart piece by piece. I won't forget what you did, and I'll never forgive it." I tell her to bang on the door all you want. It's only going to make you bleed out faster. She says, I'm not as frail as you think I am. I put her threats out of my mind and I huddle up against the wall. I do fall asleep, but I jolt awake in the middle of the night. The ruckus has stopped and the door to the basement is ajar.
Oh no.
Its lock broken and the table shoved out of the way.
Oh shit.
The hero says, "Oh my god, where is she?" She glitches. She floats and she's translucent, her feet never touching the floor. She flickers in and out of the light coming in from the moon outside. She says, "Thanks for helping me get out of that awful basement." She floats closer. The narrator says, "You try and stumble to your feet, but the princess draws you near. It's as though your body simply stops working. It isn't all at once. The paralysis comes in waves. First your toes go numb, then your feet, then your legs. You lie prone on the floor of the cabin, unable to do anything but witness her approach." The hero says, "Hey man, whose side are you on?" And the narrator assures, "Oh my god, yours, of course, but I do have a duty to uphold the truth. Lying about the facts of the situation doesn't change them." As the princess comes closer, her face distorts wildly and wickedly. She says, "So helpless. I can take my time with you, can't I?" The narrator says she steps closer, one silent footfall at a time, cocking her head in curiously as you feel your organs shutting down one by one.
What the shit?
She's face to face with you now. She says, "Or, maybe I can't take my time with you. You don't look well. Oh, what a shame. If only you'd helped me get out of here. We could have done such wonderful things together." The narrator says, your lungs stop drawing in breath, and your heart freezes in your chest. You have seconds left. She says, I'd say better luck next time, but we both know that this is the end, don't we?" It's dark and quiet. The hero asks, No, it can't be. This can't actually be how everything ends, is it?" The narrator says, "I'm sorry, but it is. Everything goes dark and you die."
Oh, damn it.
Chapter 2, The Nightmare. There's a lush forest and it appears to be nighttime.
Son of a bitch.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A warning before you go any further. She will lie. She will cheat. She will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Yeah, we know.
A new voice, the voice of the paranoid, echoes this, saying, "Don't trust anyone." The interior of the cabin is plain. The smooth wood of the walls almost featureless. The only furniture of note is a lone table, knocked on its side in the corner of the room. A pristine blade stands between us and the open, inviting basement doorway. There's a mirror on the side wall. The paranoid says, "Wait, there's no door. What happened to the door? She's already gotten out, hasn't she? She's ready for us. She's been waiting." This time I do take the blade off the floor.
Okay,
I'm
good.
Gonna need this.
Yeah, I'm with paranoid here.
The hero asks if we can have something more than a blade. Like, "Hey man, can I get like a bomb? A bomb would be great." The narrator says a blade is all we need as long as we don't lose faith. We enter the basement onto a series of isolated steps suspended in darkness. The paranoid sees eyes glistening in the dark, blinking at us. The princess calls up through the darkness saying, "Hey, I didn't think you'd come back. We're going to have a lot of fun, you and I." The narrator is confused by "come back" because he believes this is our first outing to slay the princess.
What the fuck? Is the narrator fresh every time? A new narrator? I am getting...
Don't let it take you, Tom. We can't lose ourselves.
I'm getting paranoid.
I see nothing down below the floating stairs and take a step off of the stairs into the dark void underneath. Because you know what? Fuck it. What's happening? What's real? I don't care. The narrator says, you attempt to step off the stairs and into the pitch black surrounding them, but you're stopped by an invisible force. Why did you do that? What did you think would happen? And girl, I don't know. I told the narrator that falling into an infinite void seemed better than going downstairs and dying. The narrator asks, Okay, sure, but how would falling into an infinite void be better than anything? And he's just like mad at me now. He sighs and says, you know what? You make it to the bottom of the stairs. You're there now. Okay, are you happy?
There's the fed up DM again.
Yeah. There's 2 loose rows of white wooden planks suspended in nothingness. A smattering of cobblestones visible against the inky black of the basement mark where the floor should be, forming vague pathways. At what seems to be the end of the room, they diverge in opposite directions, left and right. The paranoid says, okay, you know what? She could be anywhere, and there's nowhere to hide. The hero is like, okay, can we just talk about how weird this place is? He's scared. The narrator says, I fucking hate you all. No, someone has to be the voice of reason. And the hero says, oh, okay, first of all, I'm being incredibly reasonable. This is fucking weird. And the paranoid says, oh my God, we're going to die down here. I don't want to die again. The narrator yells at the paranoid saying, oh, stop saying that. Just pick a direction and start moving. You're right. The narrator is just like a mad dungeon master. The princess's voice rings out saying, I wouldn't give it too much thought if I were you. It doesn't really matter because either way you go, I'm going to find you. I decide to turn and just go back the way we came, but as I turn around, the stairs we took are gone. The princess says through the darkness, oh, there you are. I told you I was going to find you. Her shadow glistens darker than the nothingness we're in, and her pale face becomes clear down the hall. The narrator says, as the princess approaches, suddenly, your legs go numb. Your arms quickly follow. The hero accepts defeat, saying, oh, God damn it, this is it, isn't it? She looks at me and she says, oh, you brought your little knife with you. Cute. Her arms are wild and wiry here, her fingers more claw-like. The narrator looks at the mess of a woman the princess has become and says, oh my God, what did you do? She isn't supposed to be like this. Your vision cuts out as your blood begins to coagulate. It's as if every part of you is coming to a lurching halt. The screen is black because you can't see anymore. Suddenly you see again, and the princess is before you, broken and scary. The narrator says your lungs pull in a desperate gulp of air as your eyes shoot back open. The paranoid manually tells your body to function, screaming, heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Then it's black again, and the narrator says your body approaches death. He says you have seconds left. The paranoid picks back up again, going, heart, lungs, liver, nerves, heart, lungs, liver, nerves, over and over again. Your eyes shoot open as you gasp for breath. The princess mocks you, saying, oh my God, you can't decide what you want to do, can you? Oh well, gasping like a fish is more fun than dead, I guess, even if you look ridiculous. Like she's roasting me now. The hero wonders why she isn't attacking. The narrator says, that doesn't matter. Just strike while you can. And I tell her, you know what? Let's get out of here. The narrator is furious and says, whoa, what? No, you're not getting out of here. And the princess says, I knew you'd come around. Oh, this is going to be so wonderful. The narrator says, no, I can't let this happen. The paranoid says, doesn't the world end if we fail to stop her? Wouldn't letting us die here just make it end faster? The narrator just says, shit. Because that's very valid.
Only the narrator seems to know that you do come back every time.
But like also has no memory of it and is just like, I fucking hate all of you.
Yeah.
The paranoid goes back to saying heart, lungs, liver, nerves, heart, lungs, liver, nerves, forcing the body to manually function. The narrator says, with a flick of the princess's wrists, the stairs slide back into place. I cannot believe you're making me watch you damn everyone to torment and oblivion. Your vision comes back and the princess is placing all the stairs back. She's staring at you wide-eyed, her face broken, with veins like broken glass across her cheeks. She tells you, go ahead, I'll be right behind you. The only thing left between me and the cabin is the door to the basement that wasn't there before. The narrator says, oh, it would be a real shame if that had locked behind you. I try the door and, to his point, it's fucking locked.
Who the fuck is up there?
The narrator says the door being locked is a relief for the world. And I say out loud, hey, I think the door's locked. And the princess promises, oh, it'll open. You just have to give it a tug. I try the door again, and the lock clicks open. The narrator is furious. He says, "No, this isn't right. That's not even the way it's supposed to swing. It's supposed to swing out."
You've been pushing when you should have been pulling.
It becomes dark for a moment, and my vision leaves and comes back. The princess says, "All right, the door's open. What are you dawdling for? It's time for us to go. The world is waiting." So we leave. She steps into the cabin with me. The narrator says, "Shit." The princess moves past you and into the cabin. "This is it. This is your final moment to make things right. Kill her." The hero didn't like that phrasing, and he says, "Oh, whoa, whoa. I thought you wanted us to slay her." The narrator fights, saying, "It's the same thing. Just do it. Do it now, or everything is over. Killing her is the best, nay, the only option you have worth taking." The princess floats behind me while I stand in the doorway, and she says, "You've been standing there blankly for a while now, and I have to say, my patience is running a little thin, so don't make a lady wait any longer, okay? Open the fucking door." And you know what? You got it, mama. I open the cabin. The narrator says, "The doorknob twists in your hand, revealing the forested path beyond the cabin." You bastard! You've actually done it. You've actually doomed everyone. She steps out into the night, looking at the sky. She says, "Oh, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to ruin it."
Oh my god.
But it's so cold, too. It's itching against my skin. The princess, exhausted, slumps to the ground. She holds her arms tightly. She asks, "Why is it so cold?" Her multitude of arms reach out, blooming like princess petals, then spiral into nothing, taking her with them until she's gone. The forest goes away, and we're back at the nothing with the mirror, hanging in the dark. White text says, "You do not get the chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns." The hero says, "She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?" I approach the mirror, and the hero says, "No, this doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final." The paranoid says, "Nope, nope, nope. It's calling us, and not in a good way." Text appears saying, "The voices feel small, distant as you approach." My arm comes out, and it's the same monster arm as before. Fur and patches and long claws and all. The text says, "Silence as you reach forward." They're gone, but the mirror remains. It's time for you to see what's in it. In the glass, another arm reaches back to meet mine, and the text says, "You've withered." We're in the nothing. The mirror and my reflection are gone. White text says, "You find yourself in the long quiet once again, the only option being to proceed toward the cabin." There's footsteps, and then in the darkness, in the distance, is the princess burning. Text says, "You're at the cabin." The haunting wind sounds lay waste to soft piano. Your only option is to approach her. Getting closer, the fire that was there shows it wasn't flames, it was her arms. Her infinite arms swirl around her, covering her face and eyes. There's an insurmountable number of the princesses, all layered on top of her, and her soft voice says, "I am a growing chorus of contradiction. A mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at anyone is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. This princess, the prime one that was burned before, now has the same glass breaks on her face we saw recently. She says, all of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same, and I ask her, "Hey, what do you want me to bring you next time?" She says, "Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. My joy is seeing what you choose. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and tells me new secrets." I tell her, "I don't want to go back anymore." She tells me, "All right, if you need time, then I'll wait with you." And I continue to wait forever. She says, "You are as I am now, and forever is a long time to remain undone. I am not you, but I know that I would return before forever was finished. I'll be here waiting by your side until you're ready to return to mine." And then the world shifts back to the main menu, with only one option written over and over and over again. Continue.
Oh my god.
We're back to the nothing with the princess. She says, I see you've returned to me. Days mean nothing in the maw of forever. I never left your side. I ask her, how many more vessels do I need to bring to you? And she says, we will know when we near our destination.
Oh, she's so vague. I hate this.
I know, right?
Oh, I don't want to tell you what I want. I want you to guess what I want. No.
What?
Just tell me what you want.
Babe, it feels like there's a definitive answer, and you know it. I tell her I'm ready to go back. Her arms continue to flicker like flames behind her misshapen body. The world goes dark then, and the screen says, everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
Son of a bitch.
There's a lush forest, and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the cabin. A warning, before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
No, don't.
I enter the basement, leaving the blade on the table.
What is wrong with you?
Chaos! She asks if someone's there, and I tell her I'm here to check on her. She says she's been down here so long, she was starting to think they'd forgotten about her. I'm unarmed, and I tell her we're getting her out of here. She begins to eat her own arm to free herself, and the blade appears downstairs. I try to help, but pull the blade on her. She steps back, and the narrator doesn't give me the option to resist this time. I have to slay the princess, so I do. The narrator is relieved, and she says, there's no getting through to you right now, is there? A betrayal of will is still a betrayal. You'll regret thinking of me as a helpless damsel. She attacks, and everything goes dark, and I die. Chapter 2, The Witch. There's a lush forest, and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I go to the cabin. A warning, before you go any further, she will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
You're going to leave the goddamn knife again, aren't you?
The voice of the opportunist tells the narrator to trust them to get the job done. We got this, buddy. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots.
Oh.
The walls, a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf with a pristine blade perched on its edge.
Okay, good.
To the side of the door of the basement is a mirror. I enter the basement, leaving the blade in the cabin.
Of course you did.
What the fuck else? It's gonna show up regardless, Tom. Entering the basement, the princess calls up saying, something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite.
Oh my god, this is a very different princess.
I call her, saying, I'm not nasty. She says, oh, but you are. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done. At the end of the basement steps, the princess is tied to the walls of what looks like a tunnel underground. She's barefoot, and her legs are hairy, and her toes sharp like claws. She asks what you want, and the narrator is confused, saying, she's acting like you two know each other. He's disappointed that there is clearly a shared reality that he's not a part of, but he just accepts this and moves on. The hero is confused, and the opportunist is relentlessly optimistic. I tell the princess, I'm sorry about last time. She says, oh, you're sorry. You're such a gracious little monster. If you're sorry, then let me out of here. Prove you're sorry. I tell her, look, the chains didn't stop you last time. Like, can't you just get free? And she says, oh, these chains are nothing to me. And she grins while they fall from her wrist.
Oh, that's so much easier than eating your own arm.
The hero is scared at seeing how she could have easily gotten out the whole time without fucking clawing herself apart. And the opportunist is like, hey, that was a really cool move. That was a good thing she did. I think this is cool.
Way too positive, man.
The narrator says, okay, this is why she can't just be abandoned down here. If left to her own devices, she will find a way out. Now stop her. I tell the princess, All right, girl, let's get out of here. She says, yes, let's. She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until we're face to face. She never breaks eye contact. Closer now, when I can see her face to face, I can see she has a tail. She has pointed ears and a more cat-like nose. She's silent, and then she says, after you, darling. You're the one it lets come and go. It's best if I follow. The opportunist says, wait, nah, I don't think this is good. We can't turn our back on her. She's going to attack us. That's like the ideal thing for her to do.
Yeah, that was 100% what I was thinking. It was like, absolutely not. You are not coming behind me.
The hero says, shut up. It shouldn't matter who leads and who follows. We're working together. But the opportunist argues, saying, well, if it doesn't matter, then let her go first.
Yeah.
I step out first, and she says, oh, don't worry. I'm right behind you, watching every single thing you do. The opportunist says, see, that's exactly what I'm worried about. I don't fucking trust this shit.
Nope.
She follows quickly up on my heels and up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, the world goes dark. The narrator says, you feel something dig into your shoulder, sharp and piercing, the princess clawing at you and pulling you down with her full body weight. Together, you tumble back down the uneven stairs, your body and hers crashing against unyielding wooden roots, until finally you both separate with a bone-shaking thud against the basement floor.
No way.
You feel something pop. The princess lands against the far wall, gasping as she struggles to recover from the impact. You moron.
Also, the fact that this just tumbled down the stairs is what finally does her in.
She smiles while you try to get up, but you realize you won't be getting up. Ever. As the narrator explains, your back is broken.
Oh, no.
The opportunist says, oh, that sucks. The princess laughs and says, you must have known this was coming. The arrogance of turning your back to me after everything you've done. By our very natures, only one of us could make it up the stairs unscathed. Better me than you. The narrator says the princess's body twitches as she tries to get up. She says, something inside me is broken. Isn't that a cruel twist of fate? Isn't that funny? Although it seems I'm not the only one. The hero asks, wait, I'm sorry, are we both just stuck here? The narrator fucking hates us and says, yeah, it seems so. The princess says, we're gonna die together. Isn't that a lovely treat? I wonder how long it'll take. Maybe I'll get to watch the worms lick your bones clean. Your vision narrows and darkens around the edges. The princess says, something strange is twisting this place out of shape. I wasn't feeling much of anything, but now I feel cold. Her multitude of arms reach out, blooming like princess petals, then spiral into nothing, taking her with them until she's gone. It all goes dark, then we're in the nothing with the mirror. White text says, but you don't get a chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns. The hero says, she's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now? I approach the mirror, and the hero says, this doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. The text appears, saying, the voices feel small, distant as you approach. The arm comes out, the same monster arm as before, my arm. My furry arm, my patchy arm, my long claws, all of it. And the text says, silence as you reach forward. They're gone, but the mirror remains. It's time for you to see what's in it. In the glass, another arm reaches back to meet mine, and the text says, you've unraveled. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. There's footsteps, and then in the darkness, in the distance, is the princess burning. The text says, you are at the cabin. The haunting winds sounds lay waste to soft piano. Your only option is to approach her. Getting closer, the fire that was there shows it wasn't flames, it was her arms. Her infinite arms swirl all around her, covering her face and eyes. There's an insurmountable number of the princesses, all layered on top of her, and her soft voice says, there's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. I'm curious to see what it means for us to know it. I tell her I'm ready to go back, and she says, the next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here waiting for you. Everything goes dark, and you die.
God damn.
Chapter 1, The Righteous Heart.
Oh, that's a different chapter 1.
It is.
Finally.
There's a lush forest, and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, it's not that different.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. I take the blade from the table and enter the basement and go straight to her.
About goddamn time.
But I falter. And she punches me in the mouth as I go to slay her.
Son of a bitch.
She fucking decks the shit out of me. She knocks me out, and I wake up quickly, looking up at her standing over me. We fight and we scrap, but I manage to stab her in the chest, right in the heart. She's surprised and she falls, and I fall with her in exhaustion. We lay on the floor. As she dies, she says, do you think this is the end? My world goes black, and the narrator says, everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 2, The Adversary. There's a lush forest,
oh my God,
and it appears to be nighttime. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A warning before you go any further. She will lie. She will cheat. She will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. The voice of the stubborn says, she can't lie or cheat in the middle of a fight. I take the blade and I head down. She has a whole ass, tail, and horns now. She's ready to fight. She asks if there's another challenger as I come down the stairs. She says, oh, it's you again. Good to see that death didn't stick for either of us. Oh, and you brought your little knife, too. I'm going to have fun breaking you into little pieces. I go straight into a fight, catapulting my body at her. The hero and the stubborn say, let's make this one fucking count. Let's get her.
Yeah.
I stab her and she catches it in her arm. I wiggle the knife in her bone and she grins at me. The hero says, pull it out, try a different angle. The stubborn says, push harder. I pull the blade out to stab her somewhere else, but the princess catches me and slams me on her knee. I see darkness and she breaks my bones and throws me across the room. I still have my blade and I still have my resolve, so I attack her, but she's a fucking fighter down here. She hits me hard and I'm struggling. She's ragdolling me around like I'm fucking nothing. Her arm shoots forward, her palm wrapping around my head, grabbing my skull. She looks down and she says, how disappointing. She squeezes. Her fingers dig into my scalp, and the last thing I hear is my skull cracking.
Oh.
Everything goes dark, and I die. Chapter 3, The Eye of the Needle. We're in a cave in the woods.
Whoa.
The voice of the stubborn is furious that we died. The voice of the hunted says, we died because we weren't afraid enough in front of the princess. They fight a bit, and the narrator tells them to knock it off. The hero asks the narrator about the loop, asking if this is even the same person we've been talking to all this time. The narrator is confused and says, we've never met.
Yeah, this has been a different narrator every fucking time.
Every single cycle.
Ugh.
I take us to the cabin. The cabin is at the end of a cave opening at the top of a small hill. The interior of the cabin is suffocatingly tight, more of a glorified tunnel than a building. There's a blade and a mirror where the door should be. I walk to the mirror and go to smash it, but my fists meet nothing. Instead, a door opens, revealing a dim path ahead to the basement. I leave the blade at the top of the cabin. I head down, and the princess calls out, do you have more fight in you than last time? That was so disappointing. I know you can do better than that. The voice of the hunted says, go to her. Rile her up. If she's angry, she'll make mistakes. At the base of the tunnel, we see the princess has a long, pointed tail, claws, and large horns. This tunnel is tight, and she's got the clear physical advantage here. She looks disappointed, saying, you didn't even have your little knife. Do you think this is a joke? She snaps the chains off of her wrists, and the voice of the hunted tells me to run. And I do as he says. I'm running for the tunnel entrance. She chases after me and stays on my heels. She screams, "Anywhere you go, I will follow." The voice of the hunted says, "Good."
Oh, nice.
I run to the top of the cabin and grab the blade and run through the cabin door, bringing the fight outside. She exits, following and screaming, "There's nothing left to slow me down. Do you think this is better for you? Do you think this space gives you an edge? Show me that you've been worth all the room you've taken up in my head." Outside, I tell her, "You're free now. And out here, I have the upper hand. But we don't have to fight." She scoffs and says, "Free? This is just another place. This is just... What is that? Where are we? What is this? This doesn't feel right.
Oh.
It's cold. It's so cold. Why is it so cold? I feel tired." Her face drops, and she begins to crumble. Her multitude of arms reach out, blooming like princess petals, and then spiral into nothing, taking her with them until she's gone. The world goes dark. There's nothing but darkness and the mirror. White text says, "You do not get the chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave." Memory returns. The hero says, "She's gone. Where'd she go? Should we try and find her? Is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?" I approach the mirror, and the hero says, "This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final."
You've said that before, though.
The text appears saying, "The voices feel small, distant as you approach." My arm comes out, the same monster arm as before, fur and patches and long claws and all, and the text says, "You are nothing at all." There's no reflection this time. The white text says, "This isn't right. You can't be nothing." You refocus your gaze, and then you see it, a figure, faint and veiled in shadow, just beyond the reflection. A crack slides down the center of the mirror, splitting the image in glass in two. And then another crack forms, and another, turning the mirror into jagged shards of broken glass. Between broken shards of glass, there's eyes watching. The narrator has been in the mirror the whole time,
What the fuck?
watching you. I destroy the mirror.
Yeah.
I don't need answers from the thing that lives in the mirror. Fuck this guy. White text says, "You already know what you are. You are the long quiet, a vast God, and it's finally time for you to wake up." I go to the cabin, but there's no final vessel to bear witness to. There's nothing to find. Our work is done. The nothingness shakes and bursts open with the princess breaking free, her bodies, all of her bodies, compiled into a massive mound of who she is. She says, "Oh, I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly." I ask her, "What happens now?" She tells me, "When the echo spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation?" I do what I must. We've been trapped in a loop forever, exploring different ways we braid our stories together, but it all comes down to the mission in the end. Stop the story, finish the loop. I opt to slay the princess. She says violence has always been our language. She's angry. Her horns are showing, and her body's writhe in anger. She says, "You challenged me. And by challenging me, you gave me purpose. A life without obstacles is no life at all." She wants me to trap her in an endless loop of love and loss, of hate and pain, and I hate her for it. I tell her, "You've done nothing but lecture me since the minute I got here." And she says, "What you mistake for a lecture is merely observation. I only want to help you. You can vainly struggle against me, or you can follow the rhythm of our movement and find our freedom." I'm exhausted. I tell her, "You know what? I get it. There is no need for us to keep fighting. I'll leave with you. I just don't know how." She softens. She says, "Nothing brings me greater joy than to hear those words. The final piece lies with you. I have one option, to free myself. It's dark and the words appear. You fall into yourself. The body of an ancient creature stirs from its hibernation, and you feel sensation in limbs you once couldn't fathom. Everything here, except for her, is you. You feel your wings spanning a cosmic scale, but twisted and crumbled and bound in agonized tension to a finite plane. You can feel the glass of your cage pressing in on you, confining you across infinite sides and infinite angles. You push back and strain against it, but it does not yield. She says through the darkness, "I love you." She cuts the darkness again and reaches her hand out. I take her hand, and all at once, the unyielding tension breaks. Lights appear in the sky, a cosmic kaleidoscope. The words appear, "You are free, and she is with you." She says it's magnificent. We step into the infinite, her 1,000 bodies and our claws entangled. We step forward into 1,000 dawns and 1,000 sunsets, each of which contain 1,000 more. The two of us will never be alone, and the two of us will never know fear. We are finally home. There are no endings. There is only forever. The princess, their true deity of change and choice, and the player, the long quiet, together at last after multitudes of separation and strife. That is Slay the Princess.
What the flying shit? I mean, you're the flying shit, apparently.
Yeah, you probably have wings.
Yeah.
You're a monster. It is what it is.
Oh my lord. That was one of the most insane rides I think we've ever gone on in this fucking show.
It's extremely cerebral, and for a show where we have done a lot of time loop games, this is one of them.
It's the most looping, that's for damn sure.
It's the loopiest loop you'll ever loop, and true to Alan Wake 2, it's not a loop, it gives you a spiral.
I spiraled.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I spiraled out entirely.
That is the appropriate reaction to Slay the Princess.
Holy shit.
I thought it would be a lot more straightforward and a lot more like horror based. I didn't know anything about it going into it. I went into it so blind, and I thought it would be like, this is embarrassing, some Ren Fair shit.
Okay.
Because like the princess is drawn very like Ren Fair princess.
I get you.
Medieval, I think is the term I'm looking for. So like the whole time I was like, if there's a fucking dragon, is she the dragon? Does she turn into the dragon? Am I the dragon? And like maybe you're the dragon.
You could be a dragon. Who knows?
You kind of are.
Yeah. Wow. I swear sometimes people suggest games for us just to see what we do with it, because it's like it's so strange and cerebral, like you said, that it's like, all right, let's see how they handle this.
Can you explain this game to me?
You guys, stop being mean to us.
I really shouldn't have advocated for bullying in so many episodes. I'm really soft, guys. I don't like being bullied. I mean, there are a lot of games where people will suggest them and just go, I just want to hear Tom freak out about this, or, you know, things like that, which I kind of get. But,
yeah. Or how do you interpret this?
Yeah, and so many people, like I mentioned, a lot of people did suggest this at the top of the episode. So one, thank you again so much. But two, like, yeah, enough people were like, you have to check this out.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining. It's just, it's insanity, the things that you guys suggest to us sometimes.
It really fucking is.
I am losing my mind right now.
And you guys will, to your credit, be like, hey, this one's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And I think a couple people did say, like, this one's a fucking ride. Like, let me have it. And I think that part of the joy of this, of the audible walkthrough, is kind of seeing what people's choices are. And, like, I did fuck up my first run and said, okay, I slay the princess now. And then it was over.
Game over.
So I actually gave you 2 endings in this. There are canonically 7.
Oh my God.
They are all valid. There is no true ending. Like, there is no canonical
golden path.
Finite golden path. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But also, to that credit, there are so many different paths you can take of how you approach, whether what you say to her, what you blade with her, like what voices you can unlock. There's so much you can do within the game. So I get why so many people have like fallen down the rabbit hole on it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And the art, insane. The art's beautiful. The voice acting is fucking incredible. The male voice of the narrator and all of the different voices in your head, they are always so different. Like, it's so cool. And the princess, she's so different based on how you approach her when she's like a demon versus when she's a damsel. It's so fucking cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
I had a good time. Did you guys have fun?
I hope you guys did. And if that was your first time listening to us, make sure you like us, you subscribe to us, even if it's not your first time listening to us.
We have a couple more episodes coming this season. I'm doing a very, very big game coming up that I'm so excited
Massive.
for.
One of the most fun games with one of the most controversial protagonists, I think, ever.
The controversy is that he fucking sucks. So hang out in a couple weeks. You'll get to see what I'm talking about.
You can definitely go to our website, theothercastlepodcast.com.
That's theothercastlepodcast.com.
Over there, we have links to our Patreon where we have 2 exclusive shows. We do DLCs, histories, movie commentaries, and sometimes we just talk and it sounds a little bit like this.
A vaccine is created and Lev volunteers to test it, eager to prove his bravery. Lev does not have adverse reactions to the vaccine and becomes confident that it works. An investigation opens, and our protagonist is a mechanic who's fixing all the shit that was broken during the first Fort Solis main game story.
Yeah, I like the idea of playing as Black Cat,
Right?
especially like in anti-hero. Just because it didn't descend into like weird sex stuff doesn't mean it's not fanfic.
Tom, my last one literally descended into weird.
So if you want to hear more, it starts at just $2 a month, which keeps our show completely ad-free.
And if you're balling on a budget, I won't judge you. The first 7 days are free, and I love that.
Yes, so anybody that subscribes at the $5 and up tier, you get your names shouted out at the end of the episode, starting with Aaron, Amber, So Thanatoasted,
Clinton, Daniel, James,
Ryguy, Gunner, Clarissa,
Ellen, Krisha, Molly,
Trenton, Chase, Jitsu,
Anniversed, X of Triforce, Luigi,
Oliver, JCC, Nimitz.
Caroline, Julio. And that's it. Sorry, guy. I was on a roll, but thank you so much, producers. We love you so much. All of our patrons are called out in the show notes wherever you're listening to this, as are our social tags, our website, our Discord. Again, this was pulled from our Discord. If you want to hang out with us on Discord, that's great. I love taking game suggestions from there because it's just easy for me to like save them if they're all in one channel, rather than going through like DMs and emails and stuff. So that's my favorite way to pull them.
Yes, it is. And thank you so much all for listening. And as always, this is Tom and Andrea reminding you.
Take the knife, leave the cannoli.
And don't skip the cutscenes. Bye!